Hi everyone, it's my pleasure to be joining you today on this event. I want to believe that you're already having a very good time from all the other sessions that you have attended so far. And if you're taking out time to be a part of this masterclass, I want to say thank you once again for joining this class. My name is Tolulope Olashopo and I'm a sales professional who actually works in sales and also helps businesses and companies to effectively sell and actually, close a lot of deals. So one of the things I'm going to be sharing with you today is some tips that you can actually look out for. If you want to be effective as an entrepreneur or you want to actually position your business in such a way that you'll be able to make more profit consistently on a daily basis. Now, one of the things that I realize is that a lot of people always think that sales is made for some specific people. But if you're an entrepreneur or someone that is running a business, you need to understand that you are the number one salesperson of that business. Because if you're not selling, then you don't expect any other person in the business to sell. And as a matter of fact, even if you don't even have any staff right now, you are the first person who needs to continue to push out the brand for people to see. Because sales is the life of every business. Without sales, there's no way you can actually make money. And one of the reasons why we are in the business is to also make money and be profitable at the end of the day. So this is a very important concept that we all need to pay attention to. And what you want to achieve is not just to sell once, but you want to be in a place where you are consistently selling, because that is what is more important. For the business to continue to grow and continue to thrive, you have to continue to sell. That means the fact that you sold yesterday does not mean that you'll not sell today. And as a sales professional, this is one of the things that we've come to realize. And you hear people talk about the fact that, the reason why they don't like sales is because it has a lot of pressure. Because of the truth, the business has to continue to keep afloat because money has to be made. So as a salesperson, one of the things that I often do is the fact that every time I have to always ask myself, where is the next sale coming from? And as a sales professional, this is something that I do to ensure that I'm meeting up with the target that has been set before me. And I want to encourage everyone here as an entrepreneur. This is a question you need to always ask yourself. Is to say that, how do I continue to position my product or my service in such a way that people will continue to call me, to patronize me? Because that is one of the most important questions that you need to always ask yourself. And so these are some of the things that I think that you need to look out for and pay attention to as an entrepreneur. So one of the things that you need to do is to first of all ask yourself that this product and this service that I'm selling, what need does it actually address? So for example, if you are selling food items, you need to ask yourself, so what need am I trying to satisfy? Okay, could it be that I'm trying to satisfy the needs of people who are living in this neighborhood who've not got anywhere else to source their food from? That could be one of the first need. Or could it be that you're trying to solve the problems of, let's say, professionals who have gone to work and don't have time to shop and they need food items delivered to them in their house. So you're trying to solve the problem of convenience. Or you could also ask yourself that, is it that the person that I'm trying to sell this food to, what is the thing that really matters to them? Is it the prestige? So that talks about someone that has like a food restaurant, and your restaurant has to be in such a way to attract the people that like to have that prestige, where they can say that, I eat in that place because it appears and looks in such a way. So there's always a need behind the reason why a customer will be buying things from you. Because people don't just buy, people buy for various reasons. Some people might also be buying from you because your price is actually very low. So it could be that what you're selling is cheap enough for them to buy. Another reason why somebody might want to buy might be the quality. So they might be looking out for something that is good enough, that can last them long enough. Another reason that I talked about was convenience. People want to buy because maybe what you are selling or what they want to get from you, they can easily walk around and come and buy from you. For example, if you have a store that is close to where people live, and they know that instead of going to the market to source for that thing, they can easily just come to your store to pick up that item. Or you probably will be delivering to them without them having to travel far to actually get that thing from you. So you need to always ask and find out, why is the customer trying to buy this from me? Because when people reach out to you to actually source or hack or buy things, they actually have a reason in mind. And so you have to always find out, what is the real reason why this person has reached out to me. My next point, which is going to also, be matched up with what I said initially, I'm going to be talking about how you actually define your ideal customer. So once you've identified what need your product is actually solving, you need to also define who is the ideal person that can buy this thing. Because the truth is that not everybody would be able to buy your product depending on what you are selling. And then you must always define the person you're trying to sell to. Let's say, for example, somebody is selling drinks. Do you know that you can tell yourself that this drink that I'm selling, I'm going to be selling to the first 100 houses around this area? Meaning that your target should just be the people that are living in a specific place, because that is the people that you think that you can better reach. But that doesn't mean that people from other places cannot reach out to you. Or you can say that my target is young people who are working between the ages of, let's say, 18 and 30, who actually live, maybe, for example, on the highland, who actually, so you have a particular person in mind that you want to sell to. And the reason is because if you want to do a targeting approach to people, you need to understand who you want to actually target. Because if you don't understand who you want to target, then you won't know how to position it. So, for example, I sell medical equipment, and I know that the people that I need to sell to are hospitals, but not just hospitals. I know that the people that I need to speak to, even within the hospital, could either be maybe the head of the hospital or maybe the heads of some of the departments in that hospital, because those are the people that can make a decision on what I'm selling. So I don't need to start working and going to maybe a school, for example. That doesn't mean that the school might not even have a clinic, but that is not my first primary target. I've been able to define who the primary people that I want to sell to is. And that is important for you. You need to define who is the ideal person that can buy what I'm selling. Okay, I'm trying to sell a shoe that costs 100,000 naira. Who is the ideal person that can buy this shoe? Okay, it has to be somebody that actually has this type of job, does this kind of thing. Or I want to sell, let's say food items, but I want to sell to students who are actually, in this particular school or this particular institution, or who live or go to school in this area. Or for example, you're selling gadgets. You want to define, so who are the people you want to target? Okay, you want to target, let's say, churches who are setting up, for their media department. You want to target schools who are trying to buy, media gadgets or laptops and things to set up for their schools. That could just be your primary target. That will not affect how you now reach out to them. Because in sales, if you don't define who your ideal target is, then it's possible that the way you actually coin your product or coin your service might not be reaching, any specific person. And then you won't be able to have a focused approach. Especially if you are just the only person running a business, there's a need for you to have a focus, because you don't have all the resources to actually go around and do anything. So it's important for you to sit down and ask yourself, so what I'm selling, who is the ideal person that I want to sell this thing to? Because it's very important. Then the next thing that you need to sit down and look at is, how do people reach out to me? And that talks about marketing. Because the truth is that in sales, it's about a numbers game. How many people are you able to reach versus how many people are calling you that they want to buy your stuff? Because a lot of times people think that once you've already done one marketing campaign or the other, then you go for like another 2 or 3 months without doing anything. But a lot of times you need to realize that it's not everybody that you reach out to that will eventually come back to you. So you need to ask yourself, how am I pushing out what I'm selling for people to see? Because a lot of times is when people are aware of what you are selling, that is when they can even think of calling you in the first place. So you need to continue to ask yourself, what are the marketing campaigns that I can continue to run? A lot of us have phones. One of the easiest things you can do is to continue to even put out your product and your service on your platforms. This is WhatsApp, it could be Instagram, or you could even do content. So what I mean by content, you could even video yourself and talk about what you do. Do a short video, talk about your product or your service or your offer and put it out there. Another thing that you can do if you want to take it another step higher is to start running, let's say, campaigns and ads, maybe on Facebook, on Instagram. For that one, it might require you to start putting out monies aside to continue to do that, because that is something that would also help a lot more people to continue to see you. And if it's that you want to do the one-on-one approach where you target specific institutions or specific customers and you want to go, visit them at different times or find out or get their contact maybe online and call them up to talk to them about what you do, you can do that as well. But what is more important is that you must continue to put out a structure and a system that helps you to continue to reach out to people. Because the more the people hear about your product, the more you have more people calling back. And that is how sales works. It's a numbers game. It's about how many people you are able to reach versus how many people that are able to come back to you. So if you are not reaching people, then it makes it very slim for people to even come and buy from you. So a lot of us need to leave this place and ask yourself, so consistently, let's even say on a weekly basis, I want to be reaching 100 people. I want to be reaching 500 people. I want to be reaching 1,000 people. I want to be reaching 50 people and let them know about what I do. That could even just be your target as you leave this place. Because from every 50 or every 100 that you reach, you might have like 2 or 3 or 4 people who eventually come back to you to ask for your price, ask about your offer. And so there has to be that consistency and that structure in putting out what you do. Either you're paying for it by running online ads, or you're doing one-on-one, by yourself, reaching and calling people, or you're going to events that you know that the ideal customers that you're trying to target are going to be attending and showcasing your product in those events. There has to be a way that you continuously push out what you do for people to see. Then the last thing that I'm going to talk about is about follow-up. And so this is a very important aspect as well. So a lot of people have customers reaching out to them, but one of the things they've not been able to do is to effectively close those sales or is to effectively sell to them. Because a lot of times there are different things that can affect you from being able to go ahead to sell to people. Now, for some of us who people reach out to you on WhatsApp, one of the things that I always try to encourage, if it's possible for you to actually speak to the person one-on-one on the phone instead of chatting on WhatsApp, because a lot of times those chats on WhatsApp, you might not be able to clearly articulate what your offer is. And that's something you need to pay attention to. What is the benefit that the customer will get when they reach out to you? And the reason why I talked about you calling rather than you just chatting is because when you speak to people one-on-one, you are able to clearly articulate their need. Because the reason why the customer wants to buy from you can be multidimensional. But with a chat, it might be slower. With a chat, you might be able to get as much information as possible. You might not be able to drive that conversation quickly. So I always advise, if you can pick up the phone, call the person, ask the person, oh, do you mind if I call you up so that we can just quickly discuss about this? Go ahead, ask the person, and if the person says yes, call the person. Speak to the person on the phone. Hi, my name is XYZ. Oh, okay, do you mind if I ask you what you are looking for exactly? What is the thing that is making you want to go ahead with this? And the person tells you, okay, I'm looking for something very quality because I've actually bought this before and it didn't work for me. And then you're able to realize that, okay, what this person wants is a quality service, but he wants it at a good price as well. So then you're able to look at what you actually sell, the one that can better fit what the person is looking for, and you can match the price. You can even ask the person, oh, what's your budget? How much are you looking at spending on this thing? And the person tells you, okay, this is how much I can spend on this. This is my budget. So if there's a need for you to actually even stretch the person further, you have to then explain the advantage of your own product, what they stand to benefit, because that is a value that the person will stand to benefit. And that is what will now determine if the person is willing to part away with that amount you are going to be calling for the person. Always talk about the value, before you go ahead to talk about the price. Because if you go ahead to talk about the price without sharing the value, the person would not know the reason why they need to part away with their money. So that is something that you need to pay attention to when following up on a customer. You need to ask yourself, do you really understand what the person really needs? And have you been able to share the value that they start to benefit when they come to buy from you? So these are important things that you need to look out for when trying to sell and consistently make money. So I want to believe that the things that I've shared with you, you have been able to identify some of the things that you can start doing or you can even do more of. But more importantly, you need to have a system that is enabling you to push out your product on a weekly, on a daily basis to ensure that people are seeing what you are doing. And then you might need to look at different approaches or different system, paid ads, word of mouth, content marketing, different, because it's not only one way by which you are able to reach customers. You have to look at different systems, and then you have to have a target. Do you want to do 500 people every week, 100 people every week, so that you can be having consistent people coming? That is something that you need to take away from here, if not for anything. The fact that you need to structure your sales and ensure that there's a system that is guaranteeing that that is happening on a regular basis. I want to believe that today you have actually had a very great time with some of the things that I've shared, and I want to believe that you're going away with valuable tips that will help you to move your business to the next level. Thank you so much for staying tuned to all I have to share.